Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. This is my first ever video on YouTube. So, what better way of starting this channel than to talk about my journey? So, today I'm going to do just that. I'm going to talk about my journey and I hope you guys will like it. I hope you guys will find it inspiring. So, let's begin. So, my name is Shibesh Mahapatra. I'm from Bargarh, Odisha. It's a very small town, and I grew up in a middle class family, nothing special, just a typical middle class boy. And I've always been a bright student when I was in school, and I was always obsessed with gaming. I was always obsessed about video games ever since I was a kid. When I was in class 10th, I fell in love with this girl and it was beautiful. I won't say her name, but it was amazing. Back then, I only cared about two things, gaming and her. That was the world to me. When 10th was over, I did score good marks. I scored like 88%, which was good. My parents were proud of me. I was proud of myself, and friends were proud of me too. I don't know. We were so in love that we decided to go to the same college. And India, you know, for my overseas audience, in India, high school is called junior college. So it's for 2 years, 11th and 12th. So we decided to go to the same junior college. I decided to choose science for her. I wanted to be with her. So again, it was beautiful. We were in love and I wanted to be with her. However, my world turned upside down when we went to the college. It was a whole nother world compared to school life. I had no friends from my school days because they all went to different schools, different colleges, I mean. And I was a hardcore introvert. So I didn't try to make new friends and I was always in my own way. I didn't try to socialize, make new friends. And the only person that I was close to in that college was that girl, my girlfriend. And I think that made a negative impact in my mind. I started to be more insecure, and I was immature too, right? And it did start to make an impact in my relationship and not in a good way. My relationship with my girlfriend started to deteriorate, and I don't blame her. I as much as I blame myself because I was immature. I was just a 15, 16-year-old kid. What do you expect from him? We would fight, we would break up, then we would patch up. And it was a complete cycle. However, things started to become uglier with me and her. We started to fight more and more. And one day, she decided to break up with me. I was shocked. I was shocked because I thought she would always come back. She would always come back to me even after we would break up and all. So I thought the same thing will happen this time too. But it didn't. It didn't this time. She didn't came back no matter how much I begged her to come back. She didn't. It left me devastated. It left me devastated and heartbroken. I was completely shattered because one of the things that I did care about in my whole life was gone and I was just empty. I remember the last words she spoke to me. She said, "You are worthless in front of me." And it did hurt. It did hurt because I knew she's telling the truth. Even I knew I was a loser. So it really left a hole in my heart. I'd never felt that powerless before in my life. And I would say that hole in my heart still exists to this day. And maybe that's why I'm going out on this adventures to fill that. But hey, so I was heartbroken, you know. I wasn't focusing on studies because none of those things that they were teaching at the college made sense to me. It was all useless information to me because I saw no practicality. I saw no practicality, so I wasn't paying attention to studies. As a result, my scores declined, and I always wanted to be a pro esports player and always wanted to make money through gaming and say fuck you to all these traditional studies and all that stuff. So I had a small gaming channel. I think I had like 50 or 60 subscribers. And I was focusing on that. But I didn't have a good computer, I didn't have good internet. So I couldn't pull that off. So we were in second year, and I knew for a fact that if I didn't study, then I was gonna fail, and it was unacceptable. It was unacceptable for an Indian household. But there was a problem. There was a problem. I didn't know how to be disciplined. I didn't know how to hard work. But I was watching this anime called Naruto. It was season one, and there was this guy named Rock Lee, and there was some episodes on him. Rock Lee versus Gara fights, and he made such a deep impact on me because he was preaching about how you can be geniuses through sheer hard work and dedication. And I was inspired. I was completely moved. And how amazing is that? Like, I didn't learn how to hard work from any real person and instead from this anime character. But hey, it did work. I did work hard on I tried to study as hard as I could, even though it was horrible. It was horrible, but I did study hard. And when the results came, I scored 59%. I scored 59% and I was proud of myself because I had failed in first year. So, yeah, I was proud of myself. I did score 59%, and had I not worked hard, I was gonna fail. So, I was proud. However, however, my parents were not proud at all. And keep in mind, I used to be a bright kid when I was in school. So I was expected to perform better. I was expected to at least get like 70%, right? Or hell, at least 60%, right? But I didn't even manage to do that. I scored 59%. And when the results came, I could just sense this tension in my room, in my house. There was a tension in the air. My mother was sad. My father, he was sad too, but he was angry at me. But that day is very special to me. That day is very special to me because I heard this voice inside of me. I heard this voice inside of me. I had two paths. First path was I was gonna study some English honors or something like that, become a lecturer, right? Become a lecturer, live a simple life, which was the traditional path that I would have gone down this path had my relationship with that girl worked out, because simple life, right? You have a good job, you have a good girlfriend, and that's all you need. But I had this hole in my heart, right? I had this hole in my heart, and I had some level of ambition and dream. I knew that path, the first one that I described, it's so predictable. But I had this voice inside of me that said there is some other way that we can go. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I can do something different, make money, and live my dream life. But keep in mind, I had no clue how to do none of the things that I currently do now. But I had this instinct inside of me that was telling me that, you can be somebody, you can do something different. And I would think it was like that moment Eminem describes, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted. It was that moment for me. So even though my parents were upset with me for didn't scoring good marks, I was smiling inside, right? I wasn't obviously smiling in front of them because they would think I'm shameless, but I was smiling because I knew I'm going to do something different. So the next day, I woke up and I pirated Photoshop and started to learn Adobe Photoshop, and I started to experiment on my friends' pics. I was trying to do different kind of arts like double exposure and stuff like that. It was fun. I was learning, I was growing. And the first plan was to I'll edit pictures and I'll make money. That was the first plan. So I did open a second Instagram page and I would post the edited pictures and I would reach out to people that I can edit your pictures and you'll have to pay me 100 rupees or 80 rupees, or I think it was 50 rupees. And my people overseas, it was less than $1. So you can imagine. But hey, we all gotta start somewhere, right? So I did that. I did that for like at least 1 month, but that was a problem. The problem was no one wanted to pay me even $1 for my edits. So that was my first business pivot. I realized that people are not interested, in paying you for editing their images. I had to think differently. I had to do something different. Keep in mind, the tension in my family still existed. I was getting regularly scolded from my father, sometimes from my mother. It was tough. I was fully committed to the second path that I chose, to be rich, to do something different. I was fully committed to it. I never had a plan B that, I'm going to get a job or get a degree for safety or stuff like that. And I heard this quote by Arnold, and I'm going to put it in this video so that you guys can see.
I hate plan B. When you start doubting yourself, that's very dangerous. Because now what you're basically saying is that if my plan doesn't work, I have a fallback plan, I have a plan B. And that means that you start thinking about plan B, and every thought that you put into plan B, you're taking away now that thought and that energy from plan A. We function better if there is no safety net, because plan B becomes a safety net. It says that if I fail, then I fall and I get picked up and I have something else there that will protect me. It is very dangerous to have a plan B because you're cutting yourself off from the chance of really succeeding.
And he talks about not having a plan B. If you truly want to win in life, you must only have one plan and you must be fully committed to it. And that kept me going, My family was not happy with me. They were, like I said, constantly scolding me, but I didn't listen to them. I instead listened to people like Arnold, people like Conor McGregor, and I think it was Steve Harvey too. But the person that I relate to most was Conor McGregor. He completely changed my life, and I can never thank him enough for what he did, which was to inspire me and which was to give me hope when there was none. I could relate to him on so many levels. He started as a plumber and he went on to become this UFC fighter, winning multiple titles, becoming a multi-millionaire, and that too at a very young age. And I wanted to do just that. I wanted to get rich at a very early age. That's what drove me. So I would use my green boat earphones. I would always be plugged in, and I would listen to these successful people all day, every day, and I would ignore all of the stuff that my mother and father were saying to me. And yeah, I needed to hear people who were successful. So the editing business was not working. No one was paying me any money for to edit their pictures. So I decided to make a pivot. I decided to learn Adobe Illustrator. I decided to become a graphic designer. And like I said, I didn't have a plan B, but to keep my parents happy, I decided to get an admission as a decoy. As a decoy to keep my parents happy. I did took an admission in this local college studying English honors, right? That was the plan. And I would go to this college. I would attend the first class because on the first class they would take attendance. And once the first class was over, I would return back home. And my father was not there, so I could work on the computer. I would learn graphic designing, and I kept learning graphic designing, and I started to participate in design contests. There is a website called freelancer.com, and in this website there are design contests. And let me explain what design contests are. Design contests are basically, there is this guy who needs design services, and he would host a design contest, and designers like me would participate in this contest, and the best designer wins, right? The winner takes it all, the prize money. So I started to participate in design contests. I was scared. There were so many competitors. In one design contest, hundreds and thousands of people would participate, but I was doing it anyway. Even though I felt scared, I was doing it anyway. I was facing my fears. So for 2 months, I only did two things. I learned graphic designing through pirated courses on YouTube and lots of practice. And second thing was I was participating in design contests. I was losing, right? I wasn't winning at all. I was getting rejected from design contests, but I never gave up. I kept grinding. I kept hustling. And 2 months later, I got this notification that a contest holder has awarded me $50 for a logo that I designed. I still remember that. It was a husband and wife business. They were in real estate, and they liked my logo, and they awarded me $50. $50. I think it was 4,500 rupees back in 2019. I don't know. That was the most beautiful day of my life because I had never made any money before in my life. And this was a sign from universe that I'm headed in the right direction. And keep in mind, I was only 17. I was only 17 and no one had ever made money online before me. In my family or the people that I know, no one has ever done something like this. And that day when I made my first $50, I knew I could never go back to a normal life. I knew I would never go back to a normal life because here I was doing something that I like and I got money for it. So I knew I was headed in the right direction and I decided to go even harder at it. I was participating in more and more design contests to make more money. However, I was getting more rejected, right? I wasn't winning at all. Then it was, I think, September or October. My family decided to go on a vacation to Manali or Shimla. I didn't want it to go. I didn't want it to go because I had a bad smartphone. It has a very shitty camera, and I thought that if you are to go to this beautiful place like Shimla and you have a very bad camera, then what's the point? What's the point? But I couldn't have asked my parents to buy me a new smartphone, right? I hate asking other people to do things for me, and it made me feel powerless to ask anyone else to, buy me this, buy me that, right? Do this for me, do that for me. It's not. It doesn't feel good. And keep in mind, I had scored bad marks, so my parents were not happy with me, so they would not have bought me a smartphone. But then there was one night I was thinking about this, and it dawned on me. It dawned on me that, you know what? I can buy a smartphone myself. I have already made 50 bucks, so, I can do it again. So I started to think. There was this smartphone called Realme 5 Pro. It cost like 15,000 rupees back then. So I started to think, how can I afford it? And it clicked. If I won $200 design contest, then I can buy this smartphone. It was amazing just to even think about it on a problem solving way. So I started to, hustle harder on design contests. I was determined that I was gonna buy the smartphone. And 7 or 14 days later, I won my first $100 or $120 design contest. And it was like 10,000 rupees. I don't remember exactly now. And I withdraw that money. I went to a known shop. I gave all that money to that shop and said I will pay the rest of 4,000 or 5,000 later. He agreed, and I bought my first smartphone at the age of 17. And you know what? I still have that smartphone with me. It's not working. I broke it, but I still have it as a memoir, and let me show it to you. So here's the smartphone that I bought when I was 17. As you guys can see, I really like the back of this. It's diamond cut and all that. But it was such a beautiful day for me. I had bought my first smartphone at the age of 17 with my own money. Oh, I couldn't have been more proud of myself. I was so proud of myself. I was so happy. And my friends congratulated me, and some of my friends even asked me, how are you making this money and all that. We went on the trip. The trip was beautiful, and I did manage to click some good pictures with the newly bought smartphone. It was fun. I came back home, and I won another design contest, and I paid the rest of the money that I owed for this smartphone. But I had another challenge. I had a very broken 10-year-old computer that me and my father used to share. I used to work at night because he was using it in the evening. And this is the next challenge for me. The next challenge for me was to, buy a good gaming PC or gaming laptop so that, I can be independent. I can also play games. As I've been a gamer. I wanted to play games, but my broken PC, it couldn't play the new titles. It was too weak to play new titles. So I had to buy a new laptop or a new gaming PC so that I can play video games and I can design better. So that was the new challenge. I was I had participated in this design contest in October. My birthday is on October 21st. So it was around that time. And I was so certain that I was going to win that design contest and buy a laptop. But I didn't. And I lost to an inferior design. And that was my first experience with rejection. It hurt. It hurt, right? Business rejection, I mean. But I didn't give up. I didn't give up. I was determined that I was going to buy a new laptop for me. So I kept working on design contests, Keep in mind, I was still facing issues with my family, right? But I kept working on design contest, and I started to listen even more to law of attraction stuff, Steve Harvey, more Conor McGregor, right? Because those guys kept me going when I had no one. Those guys gave me hope when I had none. And there was a video of Steve Harvey where he says that you can pray to God for things. And I did. And it was like November 25th or something, I don't remember. I would pray to God that help me buy this gaming laptop before Christmas. And I would at night I would visualize myself buying a new gaming laptop. I would feel it in my imagination as if it's happening now. And then I would wake up and work on design contests. And that day, when I prayed to God to help me buy gaming laptop before Christmas, the next day I woke up and I was working on design contests. I got a message from a contest holder. He basically awarded me the contest, and there was a follow-up project for it. I had to design 13 different packages for this fitness brand, and I was gonna make 64,000 rupees, which was enough money for me to buy a gaming laptop. Words cannot describe how I felt. It felt like a miracle. I have heard people talk about miracles and stuff, but this was my first-hand experience with it. I had prayed to God the night before and I received it the next day. It was still to this day the most beautiful experience that I have ever had. It was, like I said, a miracle. So I did finish the project in 7 days, and I bought my gaming laptop, and I was on top of the world. I had achieved my dream, the stuff that I used to dream about 1 or 2 years ago, right? I could finally play video games, and I did just that. I played Witcher 3, Sekiro, and more games. It was fun. 2019 was probably the most important year for me because that's the year when I became successful in my eyes. I had achieved my dreams. But it was time for more. I started to believe that, I can win this 1,90,000, high 5 figures, 6 figures design contest. I started to participate in this design contest, and I think it was January or February, I don't remember, January 2020. I won another design contest. It was worth 80,000 something, I don't remember. Okay. And this was time where I could spoil myself a little. I could buy better equipment. Like I bought this 20,000 gaming monitor and more stuff. I remember there was one day, I had just bought this monitor. I was setting all of these things up. I was so happy. I felt like Batman because I had two monitors, one with the laptop, one with the newly bought monitor. It was so fun. I saw my father come into my room, and I was thinking he is going to congratulate me for all of this stuff. He asked me one question. He asked me to go to study, like go study. I did not reply. I did not reply at all. And he was so mad at me. He was so furious at me. He said, "Don't call me your father." And to this day, I have never called him father. That's the thing, bro. Like, I decided to sacrifice everything for this dream. And I thought he was gonna be proud of me after seeing all of these accomplishments. At this age, I was just 18. And instead, I got that reaction. So let's not talk about my father, right? But anyways, I kept working. I know it was fun. We spent a lot of times gaming, which was a childhood dream for me. I wanted to play video games for so long, and I could finally do that. And then there was COVID. COVID didn't really change my lifestyle much. I couldn't tell a difference because I was still at home, either designing or playing video games. So then there was summer, and in summer I couldn't access this room because there are no windows in this room and I had no AC. So the temperature used to go so high that I couldn't use this room for months. For a whole summer, I couldn't use this room and my equipment. In July or August, I participated on more design contests. And in design contests, there are so many competitors. There are like 10,000 more people that are fighting against you. It's like PUBG, right? Only one guy would win. And I used to believe myself that I'm like the Madara Uchiha.
Every goddamn thing. I wanted a bitch who was on the move, but you want a goddamn late. Got that one in my bed and she just wanna sleep. Fucking up all of the sheets. She only wake up to eat. Do this shit every week. Like why you do that? Crying you wanna be great, but sleeping until the next day. Why you do that? Got that much in the bank. We go out, she order to stay. Why you do that? Can't explain.
And I can destroy a whole army myself. And it did work for me. I did won 3 more design contests. It was worth more like 80,000, 90,000, 1 lakh, 3 different contests. So I was technically making 6 figures at the age of 18, or that's what I thought. So I decided it was time that I drop out. A friend of mine messaged me like the first semester is about to go off. Are you gonna participate in the exam or not? And I had a call to make, right? And I chose to drop out silently. I only told my mother this, and it took me a while to convince her that I'm gonna drop out. She didn't say nothing. She didn't support me, or she did try her best to convince me otherwise, but I'm stubborn as hell. So I did drop out silently, and my father didn't know. But hey, I was making 6 figures at 18, so you couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell me nothing. I'd already made it, right? And my relatives used to also tell me the same thing, that you should complete graduation, you need to be a graduate and all that stuff. But it didn't make sense to me. If I'm going to be the CEO, whom I have to show my resume that I have graduated from this or that, right? It didn't make sense to me. And I don't blame my relatives or my parents because, they just don't understand. They just don't understand that you don't need a degree to be an entrepreneur or a CEO. But it was tough, man. It was tough. There was a lot of pressure from family, parents, that stuff. In 2020, I started to notice limitations with my current strategy. Design contests are not a business, it's a hustle. It's a hustle and it's a grind. And I started to lose more and more contests. Even though my designs were good, I was losing anyway. It was not sustainable. There was too much competitions. The clients were not the clients didn't want to pay money for good work, so I decided to quit this design contest in October 2020. I deleted my freelancer.com account, and it was my second business pivot, and it was gonna be my major business pivot up until now. But I was determined that I can get clients directly without using any freelancing platform or design contest. So I started posting on Instagram my portfolio pieces, and I met this guy called Oliver Duffy. He's a agency owner, and I don't know what he saw in me, but he decided to give me his mentorship program for free that he had just launched. It was called the Launchpad. I was one of the beta testers for his program, and I didn't even know what the word agency means when I got into this program, right? But it taught me enough about how to get clients. The program was 2 months, and Oliver, if you are watching this, big shout out, and I truly appreciate what you did for me. And I learned in this 2 months program that if I send messages on internet and if I post content, then I can get clients. So in 2021, I did just that. And no, I wasn't rich. I knew I had won a few design contests, but I had blown all of the money. I did blow all of the money, and 2 clients didn't got back to me because of COVID or something. But what do you expect? What do you expect from a 18, 19-year-old kid with a 5-figure net worth? I was gonna blow it all. So I entered 2021 with nothing but my mentor, his program, and my work ethic and dream. Before 2021, January 1st, I had never done a Zoom video call with anyone overseas before. And I still remember my first Zoom call. I was full of sweat. I was so full of sweat, and but I was facing my fears. So I'm proud of myself. So that's what I did. I kept reaching out to people. I kept posting content, but I was inconsistent, a little lazy, but I did. I was getting meetings, but I wasn't closing any clients. And like I mentioned, I had no money. And then in March, I got an opportunity with a big CEO from UK. They were interested in my services, my design services, and I thought that I was gonna close them for like 10 lakhs. And for my overseas audience, it's like $12,000. I was so excited. I knew that I was gonna close them. I had told my friends, I had told my family that I'm going to make 10 lakhs from this deal. But it didn't go through. It didn't go through, and oh my God, it hurt. It hurt. but it taught me an important lesson that, never celebrate an early victory. Never celebrate an early victory. I was disappointed, I was crushed, but I knew that I have to improve. I have to improve. So I started to learn more about sales, more about marketing, but nothing really happened for me. I was working hard, I was doing the work, but I wasn't seeing any results. And keep in mind, I had no money at all. No money at all. So from January 2021 to I think it was August 2021, I didn't make 1 rupee, even though I was working as hard as I could. But then I got this opportunity in August. At the end of August, it was a small law firm from UK. They were interested in my services, and I was pretty fed up at that point, from meetings. I was doing all these meetings, but I wasn't closing any clients. So I gave them a random quote of like £1,600, which is 1.6 lakhs. But because I didn't take it seriously, I thought that, this guy is bullshitting, right? But I did a meeting with this law firm owner, and he was very happy with my content, my portfolio. And he decided to move forward with me, and I managed to close him for 1.6 lakhs, and my overseas audience, it is £1,600. And it was beautiful. It was so amazing because he was my first client outside of those design contests and freelancing websites. So it was big for me. I felt like a real business now. And I also bought many stuff. Like I bought a new smartphone, I bought gym equipment, and that's another thing about gym. I used to be super skinny. Back in junior college, I used to be super skinny. I wanted to build a good physique, but I didn't have equipment for it. And now I started to make a little money, and I bought all this home gym equipment, and I could finally focus on fitness a bit. And I did manage to go from a very skinny kid to this physique that I have right now. So I'm proud of that. I managed to close another client and a real estate agent for 70,000 rupees. She needed help with personal branding. So 2021, it was great for me, even though it was hard. But I did manage to get some clients, right? 2 clients. Not bad at all for a kid. But I started to notice some flaws with myself and my business. I realized that I need to do better. So I came across guys like Alex Hormozi, Iman Ghazi, and more marketing guys. And these guys taught me how a proper business works, something that the design gurus never did. So I started to see possibilities. I started to see okay, these guys are making $10,000 per month, $100,000 per month, and I can do it too. So in 2022, I decided to become an agency owner. I started to learn more about how a marketing agency works, how to do offers and all that stuff, how to outsource. But there was one problem. I still had no AC. And as I said, in summer, the heat gets so high that I can't access my room. So I had to fix that. So I would visualize a new AC in my room with big numbers on it, like the big numerical numbers, LED numbers on it. And funny enough, 1 month, or I think it was 20 days later, I got this opportunity from an ex-client of mine. She needed help with her website. So I managed to close her for a good amount of money that I cannot disclose. And I outsourced the project to a freelance web designer. It was so fucking amazing because I finally felt like an entrepreneur. I finally felt like an entrepreneur. I closed this client. I wasn't doing the service delivery myself. I hired someone else. And it was the first time I've ever hired anyone in my life. So it was amazing. But when you have achieved all of your dreams, like I did, it creates a new kind of problem for you. It makes you lazy, it makes you complacent, like it did to me. So after this project, I became lazy. I would spend most of my time playing video games. I wasn't taking work seriously because I made it, right? I achieved all of my dreams. There's a quote from Bane in The Dark Knight Rises.
Peace has cost you your strength. Victory has defeated you.
Victory has defeated you. And it happened to me. I achieved all of my dreams that I wanted as a kid, and it made me complacent. So I took the game for granted. I took the game for granted. I had spent all of my money on dumb stuff and some good stuff. I blew all of my money, and I was just hollow. I was just empty inside because I was purposeless. I did everything that I wanted to do. So I would spend months playing video games with my friends, being a sloth. So, but then there was this girl. She had been a crush of mine since I was in that college, and we got together and we got into this relationship, and it inspired me. It inspired me because I wanted to do things for her. I wanted to spoil her with luxury vacations, stuff, right? So I wanted to do all that. So I got back to work again, and this time with a hunger. And long story short, I got into this relationship on December 2022. December 2022. And this girl was cheating on me and lying to me from January 2023 to April 2023. And I decided to break up with her. But it was devastating. It was devastating because I'd never been cheated on before. And I'd never felt betrayal on this level before. And frankly speaking, I don't wish a girl like her even on my worst enemy. So that was something that I went through. But I gained something. I gained that hunger for success back. The hunger that I had lost in 2022 after achieving everything. And this time I'm not going to let this fire inside of me blow away. I'm going to take this to a whole nother level. As of recording this video, I am 21 years old. I have 0 rupees left in my account, and I have a prophecy. I'm going to be a millionaire. You can quote me on this. And if you have watched the whole story so far, I'm very thankful and appreciative of your time. I hope you could find something that you could relate to, or was something inspiring. So I really appreciate that. Subscribe and like this video, and I don't know when I'll post the next video, but hey, thank you for listening.